The once golden fields of Florida now lie barren, scarred with chaotic trails. Surrounding them are thick swamps and dense hills, perfect hideouts for the menace that has left farmers sleepless, fearing for their crops. As the crisis escalates, local authorities have issued an emergency hunting order. Today, professional hunting teams and their fierce hounds step into battle, not only for safety, but to reclaim the livelihood of hundreds of farming families. At first light, John's hunting team was already on the move, their truck loaded with gear, charging straight into the Florida swamps. Upon arrival, the team spread out into pre-assigned positions without delay. John and his partner boarded a small boat, setting out to track down the beasts. Barely 15 minutes later, John's sharp eyes locked onto a wild boar wallowing in mud. Without hesitation, the gunshot rang out, eliminating the threat in an instant. A clean, precise, and swift shot, the perfect opening for today's hunt. Leaving the boat behind, John quietly advanced deeper into the swamp, slipping into his hidden post. From afar, he spotted a wild boar engrossed in foraging, oblivious to the intruder nearby. With swift, practiced motions, John raised his weapon. The sharp crack of the gun shattered the silence. One single shot, neat, decisive. In the blink of an eye, another victory was secured, accurate, efficient, and merciless. Before John could move in to confirm his kill, the furious barking of hounds drew his attention. He rushed toward the sound. Just minutes later, he arrived at the scene, a wild boar surrounded by a relentless pack of hunting dogs. John raised his gun and fired a direct shot. One bullet was enough, the beast collapsed heavily to the ground. Another threat eliminated, another safeguard for the farmer's crops. A sharp crack echoed through the forest, signaling the hunter's arrival. Kevin's familiar hunting truck pushed through the dense undergrowth. As soon as they arrived, the team split into their assigned posts. Moments later, a wild boar ambled lazily across Kevin's sights. Calm, precise movements, then the trigger squeeze. The shot was flawless. The threat was neutralized before it could vanish into the forest. Pressing deeper into the forest, Kevin's eyes scanned every shadow. Suddenly, a boar charged straight at him. A shot fired. Instantly, the beast fell to the ground. But before relief set in, another boar lunged from the thicket. Kevin fired again, but missed. The beast vanished into the depths of the woods. Unfazed, he began tracking its trail. The hunt was far from over. It wasn't long before Kevin and his team located their quarry through binoculars. The boar hid among thick tree trunks, unaware of the hunters closing in. Seizing the moment, Kevin took aim. The powerful shot echoed through the forest. The beast staggered, tried to escape, but soon lay lifeless on the cold ground. The hunt ended with a spectacular finish, another deadly threat eliminated, and the crops once again safe from destructive beasts.
Florida is renowned for its vast swamp ecosystems, teeming with all kinds of wildlife. Among them, the feral hog stands out as a highly invasive species with an explosive reproduction rate. It's estimated that over 500,000 wild hogs are currently roaming the state, causing upwards of $100 million in damage annually to agriculture and the environment. Hunting these animals isn't just a recreational thrill, it's a vital part of controlling the population and protecting Florida's delicate ecosystem. Accompanied by my fellow hunters, I set off for the nearby swampland in a compact but powerful off-road vehicle. As we reached the heart of the swamp, the first signs of wild hog activity became clear. Fresh tracks in the soft earth and a pungent odor still hanging in the air. Without delay, we circled the area, scanning for movement. There, startled by the engine noise, a hog bolted instinctively. Baldrick quickly maneuvered the vehicle to corner the target, giving me the perfect opening. I raised my rifle, took aim, and squeezed the trigger. With a sharp crack of the shot, the hog collapsed right in front of us. There was no time to celebrate. Baldrick spotted a few more hogs making a break for it. He hit the gas, determined not to let them get away. I held my rifle steady, eyes locked on their movement, and fired again. The bullet flew like lightning, striking the hog cleanly and bringing it down swiftly. Continued the pursuit. One of the hogs had been hit earlier but wasn't fully down. I signaled Baldrick to stop the vehicle as I scanned the brush for signs of movement. There it was. I rushed forward, lifted my gun, and delivered the finishing shot. The stubborn hog finally went down for good, swift and clean. Our buggy roared across the open fields, the engine's growl and earlier gunfire having stirred the whole area into chaos. Suddenly, it triggered a chain reaction. One group of hogs after another began pouring out from the thickets. I gripped my rifle tightly, never breaking focus. Any hog that entered my scope didn't stand a chance. It was shot down instantly. The number of hogs hiding in the swamp far exceeded our expectations. Every now and then, one would dash out unexpectedly, but these hogs weren't easy prey. They ran like lightning, weaving through the tall grass and brush. Still, we didn't back down. We stayed on their tail, each shot taken with precision, ensuring a clean, efficient takedown. At this point, we started to worry that our ambush spot had been compromised. The familiar engine sounds likely tipped off the hogs, scattering them quickly. Not wanting to risk losing our chance, the team decided to relocate. Following fresh tracks through thick vegetation, we made our way to an open patch of ground. Then, a strange noise broke the stillness. Faint, but it set off my instincts. Heart pounding, I held my position, exhaled slowly, and fired. The shot hit dead on, dropping the hog instantly. A clean, flawless finish. We kept circling the swamp, taking each step with care to stay as quiet as possible. Suddenly, Baldric and I locked eyes on two dark shapes. They were foraging, unaware of our presence. I waited, holding my breath until they let down their guard. Then I zeroed in on the hog to the left. Bang! The gunshot rang out, startling the hog. The other one caught the bullet clean, and there it stood. As the sun dipped behind the trees, peace returned to the swamp. Then, just before we called it a day, the final target emerged. A dark shape advanced into view, seemingly unfazed by the barrel aimed its way. It paused just long enough for me to line up the shot. Now, I pulled the trigger. The familiar routine played out, but the result was just as satisfying. The hog fell instantly, taken out by a single, powerful bullet. And with that, the hunt came to an end. Thanks for joining us on this unforgettable journey. If you enjoyed the experience, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel.
Having been a hunter for many years, I've experienced quite a few thrilling chases. But stepping foot in Louisiana for the first time, everything still made me restless and excited like a rookie. The air here was thick with the smell of damp earth, dry leaves rustling beneath my feet, and wild sounds occasionally echoing from afar. I knew I was about to enter a hunt unlike any I'd experienced before. We had carefully planned the hunt for several days, and now it was time to officially begin. First, the whole team took advantage of early morning to check the bait traps. In Louisiana, hunting laws are very strict, especially regarding mechanical traps that can injure animals. Therefore, bait traps are still widely used and considered more legal. Look over there, a herd of wild boars busily rooting around the trap. My heart rate spiked. I raised my gun, aimed at the boar standing closest to the edge for the best shot, then squeezed the trigger. The shot rang out, and the boar collapsed instantly. The rest scattered in panic. It was a bit disappointing to take down only one, but such a start wasn't bad at all. Leaving the trap area, I happened to come across a deep waterhole with a few wild boars lingering nearby. Though not very large in size, each one looked plump and healthy, enough to stir the hunter's blood in me. However, these creatures were incredibly sensitive and alert. Even the slightest noise would set them off, and they'd scatter before I had any chance to take aim. In the end, I decided to climb up a high hunting stand to lie in wait. One wild boar slowly approached the stand, unaware of the danger ahead. This was my chance. I quickly raised my gun and fired, but the shot missed, and the lucky boar managed to escape. A gentle start like that was enough. I climbed down from the stand and began to carry my rifle deeper into the forest, searching for traces of other boars. It didn't take long before the next target appeared. Today was truly a lucky day for me. I kept running into one group after another. This time, I couldn't rush it. I quietly raised my gun, held my breath, focused my eyes for a perfect aim, and pulled the trigger. A single clean shot, the boar crashed down hard, lying stiff on the forest floor. Shoot. By the afternoon, the whole team decided to change tactics. We drove an airboat to hunt wild boars out in the fields. I sat on the deck of the boat, clutching my gun tightly and scanning every nook and cranny. There it was, a boar appeared on the right, without any signal. My friend, Ash, immediately steered in that direction, waiting until the boat ran parallel to the prey. With a perfect aim, I didn't hesitate to pull the trigger. The shot didn't instantly take down the boar, but it wounded it badly enough that it jumped up, then lay thrashing until it was exhausted. Just look at its size, clearly a formidable pest. Luckily, today we managed to take it down. Driving an airboat to hunt wild boars in the fields is definitely an experience you must try in Louisiana. Unlike the tension in every step through the forest, the vast open fields become a playground of speed and reflexes. The roaring engine and the sound of digging into the ground easily alert the boars and make them flee, so there's no room for hesitation. As soon as the prey shows up, we have to aim quickly and squeeze the trigger in a split second. One missed shot and the boars will slip into the tall grass and disappear immediately. Ash steered the airboat to another, less dense area. The hunters in the team split up, each watching a different direction. 15 minutes passed in silence when suddenly Harry stood up and pointed forward. A small wild boar was glimpsed in the distance. A burst of gunfire rang out. The target was completely taken down. So another boar's carcass was loaded onto the boat. The hunt ended with results beyond expectations. Although the whole team was exhausted, everyone was filled with excitement. Louisiana did not disappoint. Wild boars, the experience, and the feeling of satisfaction after each successful shot are truly hard to describe in words. How do you feel about today's hunt? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to follow more thrilling hunts. We once believed the fight against wild boars was nearing its end, but no, they've come back, and with far more destructive force. Especially in the swampy forests of southern Florida, where the wild boars have been ravaging farms for weeks. That's why we continue to take up arms and battle them to protect our crops. Early in the morning, we headed to the pre-scouted hunting grounds. The moment our boots hit the earth, we could feel the sticky dampness of the ground beneath us. The air was thick and suffocating. As if warning us of a harsh day ahead, we moved toward the forest's edge where the swamp bordered nearby farmland. Wild hogs often came there in search of food. They also roamed the fields, tearing up the soil as they foraged. After the gunshots were fired, the wild boars scattered around us, and we had to rely on off-road motorbikes to be able to find the targets. Rich held the wheel steady while Daniel and I gripped our rifles, aiming at the boars as they moved into the distance. Gunshots rang out one after another, shattering the morning silence. The noise sent the hogs into a panic, making them run even faster. But no matter how fast they were, they couldn't outrun the bullets. After taking down those wild hogs, we kept moving and headed toward recently harvested wheat fields. The sun had just risen above the horizon, casting a pale golden light through the thin morning mist, an absolutely stunning scene. But there was no time to admire it. The hogs usually leave the fields before full daylight, retreating to the forest to escape the harsh midday heat. A full-grown boar appeared. I had no time to hesitate. Slowly, I raised my rifle to my shoulder, lining up the front sight squarely on the south shoulder. I squeezed the trigger. The gunshot cracked through the air. The boar let out a roar. I wasn't sure if it was hit, but it ran. I quickly gave chase and fired another shot this time. It went down. By late morning, we arrived at the forest's edge, a vast area with swamps, an ideal place for wild boars. The ground was damp and soft, yet oddly familiar. This was the boars' favorite environment, where they dig burrows, wallow in mud, and rest. A burst of gunfire followed, leaving the wild boars with no chance to flee. After about 30 minutes of chasing, we brought down several of them. After marking and recording the coordinates, we continued deeper into the area. Our new target was the remaining herd. On an old map I carried, there was a small swampy lowland not far from here. If my guess was right, they'd head there to escape the heat. This area was dangerous, but I was familiar with it. If you're well prepared and know how to adapt, danger rarely shows itself. Several wild boars had been taken down. We moved in, checked to confirm they were dead, then tied them up and dragged the carcasses out of the swamp. Once again, mud, blood, and scorching sunlight mixed into an indescribable feeling. Our journey ends here. Make sure to hit like and subscribe to get the latest updates. The Georgia Valley, an arid land where thorny bushes grow densely under the scorching sun, is now under siege. Wild hogs, ferocious beasts with razor-sharp tusks and cunning minds, have turned this place into their territory. They dig up the land, destroy crops, leaving behind desolate trails of dust and rock. The wild hog's relentless destruction has spread throughout the region, drawing hunting teams from all over to this valley. Vehicles are rolling in, fully equipped with firearms, ready for the battle to reclaim this land from these beasts.